may be changes to the level of reporting requirements by the state of New York, and indeed that may well be throughout America, which would involve us, even though they were not really designed against us. So we wouldn't want to get involved in that. And there was a very good reason for being formed in New York in 2000, which was because of the hope that substantial donations could be received from grant-giving organizations in America if they were charitable donations. Unfortunately, that did not materialize, and so our tax status in New York was allowed to lapse after 3 years. So we have no advantageous tax status. So there's really no advantage to us of being a New York corporation now, only potential disadvantages. And so the board considered this, and we thought, after taking professional advice, that it would be a good idea to find a new home. And I don't know whether you remember the musical about the Von Trapp family, that Switzerland is indeed freedom.
Well, that's the second part. So I first want to, that's where we cut it in decisions. The first thing is that we had reasons to say we want to get out of New York and we need to have a re-establishment of the World Federation. And our first question to you is, are you in favor or are you okay with our reasoning that we have to re-establish? So just nothing more than that. I want to see the green card if you are agreeing with the re-establishment. And I have to count, and can you write down the number? I have to count because this might turn out to be a very formal meeting. You're just the green cards at this moment. So only the green cards, only the green cards. I see red cards, only the green cards, please. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is 28 votes in, 29 votes in favor. Yeah, I told, yeah. And who is against it? There's 1 vote against. And I don't have a white paper for abstention, but raise your hand if you want to have an abstention. Nobody? So the large majority is in favor, said okay, World Federation, go and re-establish. The second question, and Ron already started it, is the second question we have to answer. If we re-establish, and we go out of New York, where are we going to establish? And at that moment, we found out, because of the help from Exit Suisse Romande and Jean-Jacques in our board, that actually establishing an association, as it is called, according to Swiss law in Switzerland, like many NGOs are established there, that where we decided, sorry, it's not emotion, it is we decided to propose to you to have the establishment in Switzerland.
Right.
You want to emphasize on that?
Yeah, well, just a few words.
The mic,
Bigger one?
The mic?
You want? Yes. Well, just a few words. Why Switzerland? Because the law on that subject in Switzerland is very liberal. It's very, very easy to create an association following the civil code of our country. Usually, when you want to create an association, people meet, kind of what we call a constitutive general assembly. You adopt statutes, bylaws, you nominate members of committees and an advisor, and that's it. At the end of that general assembly, you would have created what we call a moral personality, a subject of law. I teach law in a commercial school, and with my students, to give you an example, in 15 minutes we can create a political party. We've got 5 requirements only. You've got to have a name, which should be a non-profit aim. We've got to have articles about the resources. We've got to describe the organs. We've got to give a name to your association and have an address. And that's it. So we discussed about how to establish a new society, and we decided that it would be very, very easy, as you do not have to register by the state or whatever. You just write, state it, and that's it. So I will answer all your questions if you have questions about that, but I think it is the best way, probably in Europe, to create a new association.
We go, I see Margaret, you have a question.
Yes, it looks wonderful, really. I just have a question. Do you need an advisory council in the sense of?
No, we don't.
No. Okay,
No,
thanks.
that's not a compulsory requirement.
George Amy?
Will it be eligible under U.S. IRS laws to give a contribution that is deductible on taxes?
No.
There's no tax.
No, well, you've got no tax at all. No tax on fees.
No, no, it's the other way around. If, let's say I make a contribution.
No, okay.
Not
No, try to explain.
the tax side is both sides. The new association does not have to pay taxes for whatever they receive,
Sure.
and the person who is giving money cannot deduct it from their taxes. That's the only disadvantage.
That is a disadvantage.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
Pascal?
Yeah, I just wanted to be a witness on this. I'm part of the Engineers of the World. We created an association in Switzerland, and it's not only tax and politically viable solution, it's also a very big advantage for having a word in the United Nations environments and in all kinds of NGO structures. So I just wanted to testify that we have done that. We have it's worked perfectly well for us, and I support the motion.
Okay. More questions about the request? We do it in Switzerland. More questions about that? No? Okay, then this is the second vote. Are you as membership okay that if we have this new association that it's going to be established in Switzerland? Can I see the green cards? I counted. Right. Can I see the red cards? Only 1, 2. 2 against. Abstentions? No. All right. Again here, a majority of the membership says okay, World Federation. If you go to re-establish, you do it in Switzerland. The next point we have to discuss is, Jean-Jacques said it already, you need a name. And of course, when we talked about the issue in the board, we thought it might be a good possibility or a moment to think about a new name. If you re-establish, go for a new name. You have seen, at least the people who have received my emails about it, I think I sent twice an email about the name, asking your ideas, suggestions to send in. And the result of those consultations has been that we have been talking on Skype as a board about the whole meeting, about a new name for this organization, and we couldn't decide on one name which would be acceptable to all of you. We've got about 45 different names. So again, we have thought about it, and we think as board, or the board thinks, we were too ambitious to, in this short term, talk about such a sensitive issue as a name of an organization. We have looked into the legal matters, and we have decided not to change the name.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Is anybody wanting to say about the name anything, or is it just this little applause a matter that everybody agrees to continue the new association as World Federation of Private Dutch Societies?
Great.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yes, just to be completely accurate.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, just to be completely accurate on this subject of the name. Of course, the present proper name of the existing World Federation is World Federation of Right to Die Societies Limited, because we are a New York incorporated entity. So, of course, the new name in Switzerland will just be World Federation of Right to Die Societies, full stop, without the name limited. I just wanted to be completely accurate on that. Are you going to go on to say, Rob, that how easy it would be to change the name?
I was going. That is also that. So formally, I should see the green cards to say yes, and the red cards to say no. That's first the green cards. So keep the name World Federation, at least for this moment. Can I see any red cards who say no? Okay, so that is everybody says full agreement. What we said, you heard already how easy it is to establish an organization in Switzerland. You don't have to register or to go to a notary or whatever. It means that you can change your statutes as easily if you have the approval of your general meeting. And we have seen in our discussions, and we have seen in your suggestions, that there is a potential to think about a new name. To mention one thing, that there are certainly people who say, we have something about the term right to die. We have seen all the societies changing into death with dignity or dying with dignity, because we don't have a right to die. So that is one of the issues, and we said we might well ask, if it comes into being, the advisory council to think about suggestions for a new name and giving all of you more time to consider the change. So it might well be, and it is easy to change the statutes, to the next conference we will have a proposal for a new name. But then you will be better prepared, have more time to think about it, and more time to allow. Is that okay? So we now know we are going to re-establish an association in Switzerland with the name World Federation of Right to Die Societies. One of the criteria is we should have statutes. You have all received in one of the consultations our draft statutes, and some of you have reacted quite extensively about the statutes, and we have tried to amend and to put in those comments in the definite draft. It's only a draft it is going to send to you, which is now as attachment T10 in your documents. I want to emphasize that these are draft statutes, so they can be still be amended, and they should be amended by any comments you have. So at this moment, I want to ask you, being here, if you have any comments or additions or suggestions on the draft statutes as they are here. Because then we write those down and we consider them taken into consideration in our group, and we talk about it and work them out in the new draft which is going to be sent to you. Can I ask who's going to wanting to make, to address? All right. I have Margot, Petra, two more. Okay, Margot? Margot, or are you having the same? That you...
Yes, I have to say that we are not very enthusiastic about the idea of an advisory council. It's too much bureaucracy for such a small organization. And you can always ask people for advice, and it's really superfluous to have an advisory council.
Okay, so that is one. All right.
In addition,
Petra?
I'm missing in the goals that you, as a new association, do something about legislation or legalization of euthanasia, what kind of word you would use for that, and the support of that in the in the organization. So the goal in this association should be support of legislation or legalization of
Physician-assisted
death.
Physician-assisted.
If I may for this group answer, I mean that is just what I think we tried earlier today to explain that the original objectives of the World Federation and of the viewers is very limited, only to being an umbrella.
Yeah, but
And
the umbrella can support.
Yeah, okay, but we are supporting. That is one of the objectives of us, to support national societies to do what they did.
May I suggest, as
Yeah.
a member of the umbrella, that
Yeah.
this goal should be adapted in the bylaws?
Okay. Okay, we will bring it. Okay, more.
Sorry, Robert, is it possible to repeat the proposal of the NPD, because I'm not sure that everybody has understood.
The proposal, what Petra said, is to bring more clearly, if I can say it rightly, to put more clearly as an objective of the new association to actively support organizations in getting laws in their countries, which is different than just being an umbrella and say, well, you know, inform us and we try to help you out. So more explicitly put in the objectives to support for other societies. Yeah? Pascal?
Yeah, I would like to object to the two previous comments, or at least condition. The first one is, the idea of an advisory, I think there are different phases in life. There are those that are actively doing something and getting something done. I think that is an age group and a power and an ability to do that. And then I think that we particularly should be aware that there's also an age where you are a resource as an advisory person who helps keep those who are in the action with a perspective. So that's my comment on that. The second one is on the umbrella concept. I think we need to have two awarenesses in our movement. One is the awareness that we are addressing the end of life and not just the dying. I think this is one of the big mistakes of our movement for the last 30 years, and that will be addressed again by me later. So I think that when we talk about umbrella, we need to open the umbrella to accept all of the societies who are actually taking different angles on this issue. And that thus the umbrella concept, which of course I support, is an umbrella concept that needs to widen its cover to include all the associations that really contribute to the whole spectrum of end-of-life issues, and not just limited to giving that pill to the person who wants to die when he wants it. So I just wanted to make those two things.
All right, thank you.
Very good.
We are not in the position at this moment to go into a debate about that. We just write down the comments which are, and we're going to talk about it. And if the group decides not to put it in the statutes, we of course will explain why, what the arguments are. Any more comments, additions to the draft statutes as you have seen them?
Maybe.
Yeah?
About the social members, point three.
Yes.
For me, that is too broadened. I think it must focus on the end-of-life issues.
It's already there for the older. But okay, it's noted that this is any more questions about that? So now we have a difficult vote actually, because I want you to say that you are in agreement with the general direction of these statutes. So be aware, it is still a draft. We are going to still amend. And we will certainly, after today, invite our members to bring in more comments if they want, and to give them more time to do that. And we will include them as much as we can in the new draft statutes, and we will give you ample time to discuss the new proposal in your board, in your organization, before you finally will receive at one moment a definite statutes where you have to say yes or no against. So,
but on page 18, where it's got the new association and it's got a new name there, so we're scratching that.
yeah, so, yeah. Yeah. Petra?
May I ask what is the role of the new board in this association?
I will come to that later.
Okay. And will you still be in there, involved in there?
Yes.
Okay.
He is staying on in the World Federation Board, and we certainly, the three of us, will continue to work on this. Derek?
How was the advisory council appointed or elected? That's not clear to me.
It is appointed, actually it is, in future, when we have this new association, it is appointed or by the general meeting. Of course, we do not have a general meeting for the new association, so you will see in the definite proposal in the end, and I will come to that now, is there will be a proposal of the persons who are going to be nominated in the board of the association and the people who are going to be nominated for the advisory council. And unfortunately, we do not have, of course, you will be invited again as members to bring forward people you want to nominate. I mean, we will be open about this whole proceedings. The only thing is we try to do that the coming months, and actually we hope to finish all by the end of this year, in order for us to get, if I may say so quite unpolitically, get rid of the New York-based organization and all the dangers there. But you will be informed about all that kind of details. At this moment, I just want to have your, I call it general approval of this draft statute. So we can continue working on this piece of paper with your comments and with comments we're receiving. Is that question clear?
And then these will be submitted again to the
Yeah,
member?
yeah. You will, one time you will receive a definite thing where you have to say yes or no.
Yeah.
Bernard?
That's one time. When is that? Is it like
We,
during this conference or is it?
no, it will be later. And everything will be done by mail from now on. Which means that your societies, your members, will have to start really reacting to mails that has been sent. So I will again try to find out who are the mail addresses I send my information to. I must say that sometimes one of my frustrations is that if I send out physical mails to members, I only get exceptions from 20 or 25, and I have to push after the others. I didn't hear from you, where are you? And I even have to go to other addresses to see where the mail went. So we need your active cooperation in mail responding to what we are doing now. Russell.
So if I could clarify, the motion before us is that we accept the spirit of the current bylaws.
Yes.
And that we can expect that there will be at least one subsequent draft and ongoing debate, which will be ultimately followed with a vote that will be carried out by mail.
Yeah.
We're not going to wait for the next Congress. That's the motion, is that correct?
Yeah, yes. Of course. This means, Jean-Jacques said, this means that in the statutes, one of the issues, and it has addressed in your reaction, is the advisory council, let's say the governance structure we suggest here. So certainly that will be a subject we will be communicating about.
Well, if that is the motion before the floor, I'd like to move that.
Yeah, but I agree, thank you for the formulation of that. I mean, that's,
So we move to vote.
just keep in mind what he said about the motion.
Is there a reason, what's the problem with the current structure that we're trying to correct with this new one?
To give a short answer, and only an answer, we now have a board. By constitution it is a maximum of 10 persons. It is diminished to 7. It will be 8 for the coming months. Means that you have a rather large organization for a large board for a federation which has rather limited objectives. And a large board means that, for example, there is no money to pay for the board members to visit their own conferences. They have to be paying themselves, or their organizations are going to pay for it. So we think that with a smaller board, you have more effective meetings and discussions. It is cheaper and it is better. And then we said what we miss in a small board for the new association is the representation of the countries around the world. We are a world federation. And if you have, for example, a board of the new association which has 2 European and 1 American member, we miss the input from Australia, from all the other societies. That is what the idea was behind the advisory council. And that is why you see in the statutes, it should be a good geographical representation in the board, in the advisory council. But it might well be that in the discussion we will have later, we will get rid of the advisory council at all. I mean, that's to see. But that is what we came up with the suggestion for the governance structure. So it is not saying if you say yes to this, that it certainly now it is going to be definitely an advisory council. It's just as Brussels said, formulated so well, it is, do you agree with the spirit of this draft? Yeah? So may I see the green cards for the motion as Russell answered? Let's see. May I see the red cards? So it is a general acceptance of this statute. So we continue on working on it, and you will hear more from us as soon as possible.
If I could just say, I should never speak while people are clapping. If I could just say one thing, I think some of the comments which have been made from the floor, particularly by the representatives of NVPE and by Pascal, I don't think he's listening at the moment, were really quite valuable. And I think that even before waiting until you hear something more from Rob, I think it would be quite nice if you could actually write down, perhaps in fuller detail, what you have said and what you think about that, and send it to us.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope Pascal heard that.
So please put your comments in writing to the address to my address. Okay, thank you for your approval of the work of this committee. So the next thing is, now we should do something. And the next question we are actually raising to you as members is whether you, and that is a more informal choice, whether you mandate the new board of the World Federation to do whatever is necessary to get this new association working and established. I mean, as I explained earlier, we do not have the time to come back to you or to have a meeting again, because that will take 2 years before we meet each other again. So we will take in everything you want to say, so please send in whatever you want, and we will try to make it in a more definite proposal. But you have to mandate because we have to do certain official things. If you mandate the World Federation Board to do that, that board has the responsibility to keep you informed on the proceedings, on who is going to be proposed to be in the new board of the association, to be informed about who will be on the advisory council, if that will be there at all, to inform you about the definite statutes, to inform you whatever you need to know before you make your formal agreement, which we hope that we can have this definite proposal at the end of this year or beginning next year. And then, as we call it, we want a mail ballot by the membership to tell us that we had a majority to re-establish the World Federation to Switzerland with these statutes, with this governance structure. So do you mandate the board you just elected? Can I see the green cards, please? Anybody against the mandate, the new board? Then I must say thank you for your support to the old Federation board, Okay, Faith. Anthony, it is up to you because now we have the, we won the tie.
Yes. Oh. Good.
Because we have now the any other business, I think.
Yes. Any other business that anybody wants to bring up? Gentlemen?
Just one thing, because, well, you know, we have to be grateful to Sidney Rosoff, who is there, for all the work he has done for the statute in New York. So he wasn't there at the, I haven't seen him at the beginning of this meeting, but I think that is the moment to thank Sidney for all the work he has done for the World Federation.
Sidney, is it too much trouble to stand? Sidney Rosoff and his wife Joanne. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Sidney. Thank you, Joanne. Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, this is completely outside of the meeting's information, but to answer the question of the gentleman who asked about tax deductions, I think what we might look at is the ability for people to give money to a local association that would then be earmarked for the World Federation, and that would give tax deductible statute to that donation without having to worry about the problem with a World Federation being in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Interesting idea.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else? Before I turn the microphone over to our new president, Ron Plummer, I just want to say that one of my missions here was to establish some kind of individual membership in the World Federation. And the consensus of the board was the only way it could be done would be to establish another member society of individual members, and then have that society approved by the delegates at the next conference. So I'm willing to take on that responsibility. I know there are a lot of people here who would, even if they're affiliated with another organization, would also like to support the World Federation. And then there are a lot of unaffiliated people who do not have an organization they belong to, would like to belong to the World Federation, but the way it's organized now, they couldn't. So it's possible that we would have a society for individual memberships. And I'll talk about that I'll talk about it to anybody who's interested, and also in the coming newsletters, because those people who receive newsletters might want to become such members.
But that does not happen under the umbrella of the World Federation.
It could.
Oh.
Well, it could, in that another society would be formed, would become a candidate for membership, meeting all the criteria, and then be approved by the delegates meeting in 2016 or 2018 or however long it takes to do such a thing, if such a thing is possible. I mean, I would have to sort of take it on and see how much support there is. Bernard, did you have your hand up? No. Anybody else? Okay, I'm turning the microphone over to Ron Plummer, the new president of the World Federation. It has been a great pleasure to work with this wonderful organization. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, before saying anything else, perhaps I could just address the point which was raised about tax deductibility. Unfortunately, the way it works throughout the world is normally that if you want to get a tax deduction for amounts which you want to contribute to a charitable organisation, it has to be a charitable organisation in your own country. And what was just said is, well, we, would you like to say what you wanted to say?
I'm sorry. I would, as a Frenchman, give money to the French organization AVI, which would then give tax deductible status to the person that gives the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Then, because the person giving it to me says, by the way, this is money that I would like it to be funneled to the World Association, then AVIV would then just make a check to the World Federation as a donation. Thus, the person giving the money gets tax deduction locally. Thus, the local association gives the money to the World Federation in a perfectly legal manner.
Yes, I completely agree with that. So I didn't really make myself clear. What I was just saying is that throughout most countries in the world, if you want to get a tax deduction in your own country, you have to give your legacy or your donation to a local society. Although in most cases, it is quite possible then for that local society, as was said, to pass the money on to somebody else elsewhere in the world. That's absolutely right. We'll come on to what Sylvain wants to say in a moment. But so if they set this new organisation up, which sounds a very good idea, it may well be that it would need to spin off a number of other associations in individual countries, which could then collect money in that particular country.
Please, no. No, I'm not doing it.
Well, it's got to be jobs for accountants and tax lawyers and so on.
No.
Can I hear what Sylvain wishes
Well,
to
just
say?
very shortly on the tax issue, one may not forget that every country is different in these terms. In Switzerland, for example, if you want to have this tax deductibility, you go to your tax office locally, and they have a list of organizations that they accept. And if the organization is not on that list, you cannot deduct it from the tax. So every country is different. Some people may want to donate and try to deduct it then, but they might not be accepted, and others might be. So it will be very, very individual.
Yes, as you say, each country is different. I'm sorry, Jackie.
And there's another problem, because we have the tax deductibility for the ADMD in Belgium, French-speaking ADMD. And, but there is a control. And so we have to give information of, the way that we use this money. So sometimes it's quite difficult maybe you say no, but I say yes because I know the practice in Belgium. Sorry, Pascal. And so sometimes it's quite difficult to make transfer. So, that's another point. But I think that it could be possible to investigate some ideas about trustees and so on. Maybe another association. It could be possible maybe in another way, but that's another subject for another time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that comment. As is quite evident from the discussion, each country is different, and we will have to investigate that in due course. Of course, the other problem which we have when we talk about trying to get money by way of donations and legacies is the fact that we don't really want to cut across what our member societies are doing in their own home countries. So, if, for example, we wish to try to raise ADMD would not be too happy with that. So I think we would have to come to some, NDVE. So we have to come to some arrangement on that. But of course there are plenty of countries. The United Kingdom is one itself where the local society is not one of our members, so I can't see why we shouldn't start trying to raise money there, for example. Anyway, this is a bit of a sidetrack because this is not what I had intended to say at the start. First of all, this is perhaps rather peculiar to have me as your president, because we have such an illustrious lot of members who are here today who are very famous doctors in their own fields, and in the past it has been very usual to have a medical man as the president, and that's probably as it should be. So why have a mere accountant? Well, I have to tell you, I shall only be president for one term. I wouldn't intend to stand any longer than that. But I think that perhaps having somebody who's got an accountancy background is of use for the next 2 years whilst we set up the new organisation and close down the old organisation and just generally get bedded in. So I'm very happy to take on that role, particularly if the new board elect Jean-Jacques, who is a Swiss lawyer, because he will be a great help in complying with the local formalities and so on. So my next job, of course, is to say how sad I am personally, and I think the rest of the board are, to see those members of the board who are now standing down, particularly Faye, our president, who never really wanted to be president. If you remember last time, Neil Francis was elected president, but within about 3 months he had given his resignation. And so Faye, as next in line, was forced to take it over. And so I think we have a double vote of thanks really to Faye for being president. So if you would like to. We also have standing down also Rodney and Berit, and once again it is very sad to lose them. I still hope that Rodney in particular will send lengthy emails to me with his wise words of wisdom on any subject under the sun, and I look forward to receiving those in the future. So thank you very much, Berit and Rodney, for all you've done as well. The next thing I would like to say, really, is that yes, we are an umbrella organisation, and as an umbrella organisation, I think that is what we need to be. We have deliberately taken a policy of not wanting to get involved in internal disputes or disputes between different members in different countries, because we don't really think that that is our role in life. We see ourselves, as was mentioned before by somebody, as a bit like the United Nations. We are happy to have members who have got different views, and that is only natural because the circumstances in each individual country is different, and we've all reached different stages of development in this common cause. So, as an umbrella organisation, we really do wish to retain that position in order not to bring criticism from members as to that we as the World Federation are taking a particular stance on an issue with which they would not agree. So we don't want to do that. And to some extent, the suggestion for having an advisory council, I think, was perhaps to suggest the advisory council is one stage removed, and if it consists of members, as I think it might well do, who have got ideas on specific things which they would like to see done, we could at one stage removed have them organising things with individual member societies who would like to support that activity, which wouldn't necessarily then be done by the World Federation itself. But I think that that requires further thought, because it may not work quite like that, in which case I very much welcome people's suggestions as to how we can do two things at once, as it is. In other words, have the World Federation acting as an umbrella organisation and not causing problems because individual member societies think, well, I wouldn't have done that, but on the other hand, allow scope for people to be brought together who do wish to do specific things. And that's quite a difficult thing to see how it should be achieved. So please write and say how that can be achieved. Now, what else should I say? I don't think I should say anything else other than thank you all for your support, and we look forward to a great gala night on Friday when the awards will be presented as well to those people who have done particular work for the cause over the years and to whom we want to accept or express our gratitude. So thank you all very much. I think we're going to end early, which is not what we had contemplated in the first place. So I'll pass you back to Rob.
I think just for this, we close the delegates meeting now, which means that I stop making minutes in my head. We have lunch at 12 o'clock, I think.
Yes.
And the afternoon meeting is in the AMC Theatre, which is just outdoors and starting at 1:30, I think.
Where outdoors? Where outdoors?
It is very easy. You go out to the street and to the right, I think. It is, you see AMC Film Theatre. It is about 150 meters from here. But many people will be going there.
Through the parking level.
To the parking level, go out.
Minutes to go down to the parking level.
Yes.
And where most of you came in, and then you can always ask, there's a hotel attendant there. If you go out, you go to your left and around the corner.
It is easy to find, even and I think many are sorry.
I would just like to let everyone know, when you go out, you will see a demonstration.
Yeah.
Of a group called the Not Dead
Yeah,
Yet.
yeah.
Do you know about that? Not Dead Yet.
Okay, sorry. Let's do the rest of this. So, 1:30 meeting at 1:30, and we have lunch now, and you have now some time to take some coffee and to compensate for the very short break we had. Thank you for your cooperation with the quick discussions on the reestablishment. Goodbye.